What's up, Nature Freaks?
What is up?
Dave and Jeremy back again with another Saturday slap in the face. Today we're going to be talking about a home-wrecking, nest-stealing, chick-killing bird known as the brown-headed cowbird.
That's right. These guys are the Bonnie and Clyde of birds. And if humans had the same trait as these birds, we'd be in prison for life. So, let's learn about these natural-born killers.
Nature in your face!
All right, guys. So, first of all, the whole reason we're doing an episode about the brown-headed cowbird is because Jeremy set up a bird feeder in his yard, and he noticed the birds coming in and out of the bird feeder. And this was one of the birds that kind of intrigued him. He told me about it. I knew nothing about these birds before doing this episode, and I have to admit, this might just be the most despicable, rotten animal on the planet. And they're just so terrible, Aaron. I can't believe what these things do to other birds. They're even parasitic. Now, when you think about a parasite, you think about a tick or a tapeworm, but a bird?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so as a parasite, it needs a host. Well, these are parasitic brooding birds. So the female actually steals the nest of other females. She does not build her own nest at all. So we got the male and we got the female. And the male, he just does his thing. You know, he just works the ladies. Hey, how's it going? But then the ladies go out once they have eggs and they lay them in the nest of other birds. Now, they kind of look like your common finch, all right? So they can be very confused with finches, the females only. They lay an egg in there and they hope that the egg goes unnoticed. And if it does go unnoticed, what's going to happen is their babies, all right, the brown-headed cowbirds, hatch sooner. They're larger than the other chicks, so they demand food quicker. They're also louder, so they get more attention. So the host is feeding not their baby, but the brown-headed cowbird baby, and even starving their own baby. Now, what's worse than that is when the brown-headed cowbird hatches before the other chicks, they're known to kick the eggs out of the host bird, and if the chicks do hatch, sometimes they'll smother them. Like, it just gets worse. Like, from the time they hatch, they're trying to destroy the other bird species.
It's like that Lifetime movie I watched, Switched at Birth. Now, not all birds are stupid. In other words, many of the birds that find these brown-headed cowbird eggs in their nest are completely unaware, obviously, that it's not their own eggs. But some of them, like warblers, are known to recognize that it's not their own eggs. So what they'll do is they'll build a nest on top of the eggs because they're actually too small and too weak to physically remove the eggs out of the nest. So they just build on top of it, hoping that the brown-headed cowbirds will come back, recognize that there's no eggs in there, and then just fly away.
Yeah, which is pretty hilarious. They're like, if I can't move you, I'll just build on top of you.
Right. I'll just suffocate you, put an addition on top of you.
Right, and so you're thinking, oh, that's cool. You know, problem solved. But the brown-headed cowbird female is known to return to where she's laid those eggs. And if she does not see her egg or chick in that nest, she goes berserk. And when the host is not there, she'll destroy their nest. Now, sometimes it's just like revenge. She destroys the nest and she's like, take that. All your babies are dead now. Or she'll destroy it to the point where the host will build a new nest nearby, and then 50% of the time, she will lay an egg in that new nest. Like, horrible, horrible bird.
Yeah, now the brown-headed cowbird sometimes doesn't survive, not because of building a nest on top or pushing it out of the nest, but the babies, depending on what bird, like house finch, they are vegetarians. So they feed their babies not a lot of protein. Obviously, they don't feed them insects and things like that, which the brown-headed cowbird babies or chicks need. So they're not getting enough nutrients, and they're just going to wilt away and they're going to die. So depending on what nest the brown-headed cowbird female lays in could determine whether or not it survives or not.
100%. Now, if you guys know anything about parasitic brooders, the most famous one is the cuckoo bird. And they are known to actually replicate perfectly the individual species that they parasitize on their eggs. So they go unnoticed. I think it's like a ratio of like 98% of the time they're successful. But the brown-headed cowbird doesn't do this. Their eggs sometimes look nothing like the other eggs. So it is a gamble. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But they still don't have to use the energy to build a nest whatsoever.
So you're saying the cuckoo's not as stupid as the bird?
Right, yeah. The cuckoo might sound crazy, but it's not.
Yeah, something kind of funny is that these brown-headed cowbirds are often much bigger than the other birds in the nest. So just picture a female coming to feed her babies and you got 3 little skinny things in this big fat blob.
Right?
Like he's eating Big Macs in the nest or something.
It's like the movie Elf, you know?
Yeah,
You're like,
right.
Papa, you know?
Yeah, picture him sitting in the chair with his knees way up, right?
We were talking about it, I said it should be called the UPS bird, not the brown-headed cowbird,
Oh,
because you know that dad host bird is like, that looks nothing like me. Those are not my genes.
Right?
We didn't say the reason they're called the cowbird, brown-headed. You can figure that one out. But they do like open pastures, and they're found following cattle a lot of times, trying to pick insects off the patties, if you will.
And I'm just going to say this, speaking about patties, they are ugly. The males look like they stuck their head in the cow patties and forgot to wash it off because they're not the most attractive, colorful birds. The females are kind of uniform color from head to tail, so they're not the most attractive birds on the planet.
Yeah, now some people do despise these birds and consider them a nuisance. I mean, they are native to North America, so they're not invasive, but because of how they survive, birds that are endangered or threatened, I mean, potentially they could be killing future generations.
And their populations are increasing because they love open areas, fields, and also if you have a big yard, that attracts them. So the more human buildings and structures, the more cowbirds are expanding into areas where they never were before. So
yeah, and then all these boneheads with the bird feeders, we're just feeding them. I'm just feeding these killers.
Right. All right, guys. Now that we just told you about the worst animal on the planet, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And if you did, we hope you'd subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment. Let us know if you got a bird feeder. Let us know what kind of birds you guys have. Maybe you've seen a cow-headed or a brown-headed cowbird in your bird feeder.
Yeah, and last thing I want to wrap it up. The footage that we provided here, it's an awesome camera built in the feeder. I will put the link to that if you guys want to check it out. I think it's called Birdify by NetView. But it's a really good camera for up close, and it records the birds when they come. So if you're into birds, you might dig this.
Yeah, it is cool. Now, wait a minute. Didn't you tell me that it'll also identify the bird species?
You can pay for it, and I just use a field guide because I'm like...
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it has an AI, built-in AI,
what bird
so it can identify the bird for you, which is pretty cool.
All right, guys. See you guys on the next episode of Nature in Your Face.